twitch.tv/BID_P. All right, here we go. Content warning. The following show contains a host that smokes tobacco. Ew. Some potty mouth language, discussions of fictitious violence, and a bunch of wackiness that you might not be prepared for. Viewer discretion is absolutely advised. You're just in a mood today, aren't you? I don't know. I'm actually more tired than anything. I can tell you're seeming punch drunk. Well, start the show. We're starting the show. What's going on? I am Solder Gray, the Cinematic Sorcerer. I got a little caught up in doing my dad dances. You know, those dances that if you're with your parents and they start doing those dances, you're half embarrassed and half curious, as in, did everybody dance like that before I was born? And if so, how was I ever born? So, how are you guys doing out there? Oh my God, it's Friday. And I'm a little bit delirious, guys. I'm going to let you guys know that right now. I was up all night taking care of things that had to be taken care of. I had to make a trip down to the city dump, and that kept me up for the rest of the night because of all those endorphin rushes. And now it's raining, and solar ain't just a name. So I'm a little off center, but that's okay because you are on the dark side of the room here with me, and we have lots and lots of the stuffs that we can talk about. So if you guys have any questions, comments, compliments, lots of compliments. I need the compliments. My self-esteem is always in the toilet. Please send an email to backinthedeck@gmail.com. That's BACKINTHEDECK@gmail.com. You can also hit me up on Twitter. Also at backinthedeck. That is BACKINTHEINTHCDECK. You guys know how to spell it. It's right there on the board, okay? Hit us up also on those ticket talks, those places where all them kids have been hanging out, because, you know, it's not Instagram and Tumblr is gone. You can find us at BidP. That's almost spelled phonetically, but y'all know what, how to spell the whole thing. That's BIDPY. Why? Because if I had said PEE, then a lot of people, well, I would have been cultivating an entirely different TikTok stream. I will let you guys know that. And if you're still part of that wretched hive of scum and villainy known as Facebook, you can hit us up on Deckers on the Book. This is the group, our group, that we're doing that thing and all of that jazz. So come on in and do the thing. So if you guys are wondering, we have merch and all that stuff. So please follow one of the links that I'm putting right here in the chat, and we will talk about why on this week's edition of Casual Friday. I would say ask us anything, but I can't volunteer information for other people. So ask us just about it. Well, you can ask us anything, but I ain't guaranteeing that we're gonna answer. You know what I mean? That's just one of them things. So I would like to introduce my co-host, a great entertainer, a great humanitarian, and someone who has been my friend for years. Y'all know her? That's right. It's time. Of course I had to put the jazz back on because it's cold, it's raining, And I got somebody else here. Now, don't you worry, because this is not my Hey Girl music. That's my compilation of Tool, Isaac Hayes, and Rush. Don't knock it. But this is Miss Heather Johnson. How you doing, girl?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself? Well, other than tired.
Tired, punch drunk, all that stuff. It's a time. So where can the people find you?
Well, I'm also on another show called Gaming Fix Live, and you can see Gaming Fix Live on Twitch at twitch.tv/Gaming Fix Live. That's with 2 X's there. At 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, as well as 2 p.m. Eastern Time. You can also catch us on YouTube on Gaming Fix with 2 X's there, as well as Spotify, podcast, Facebook, and Twitter. And if you need the phonetic spelling for the link there, it's going to be Twitch. twitch.tv/GAMINGFIXXLIVE.
All right.
Yeah, that's where you can find me.
So now that we got all that stuff out of the way, oh man, that's a thing. Okay, no, that is me. Okay, cool. I forgot to pull up my creator dashboard and all that jazz. So I'm literally sitting up going, yeah, no, what's up, blah, blah, blah. Oh God, I forgot to pull up my creator dashboard. I don't know what I am looking at. So we're just gonna do all that stuff. And here we go, pulling that up right now, because, my Twitch is like, hey, what's up? Oh no, you need to be muted, bro. You need to be, shh, that's right, little Solar, that's right. You just be quiet. I just need to go in the back door over here, okay? Yeah, there we go. And yeah, so I love it. Gaming Fix Live. And I almost made a joke about that not being friendly for this channel because it is XX. So, it's just one of those things. But I figure, you know what? Y'all are gamers, and you probably named it that way because you're fans of Vin Diesel or something. So, that's just a thing.
I have no clue. I didn't come up with the game with the name. I just went with it, And I've been on Gaming Fix for about almost 5 years now. So I know my way around the block, is what they say.
Yeah, that is most definitely a thing. I'm finally getting my coffee ready. Getting the coffee ready. So we got the stuff going. Let's see who is here in the chat. This is interesting because we got a small turnout today, which is cool. That way, y'all, well, it says small turnout, I don't know, but so that means y'all can ask us questions and stuff. So seriously, God, all this stuff is happening everywhere, just so much. Yeah, let's see. Boom, 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 boom. All right. Yeah. So, man. So it has been a week, hadn't it? Rain. Hey, what's going on, Vision Vendor? showing up with our stuff. So now would be the time if you want to find out anything about myself or good old Heather over here. Say hi, girl.
Hey.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We are fielding questions, which is actually funny because I was really hoping Call of Fortnite would show up because that dude is full of questions every single episode. It's just so weird. But yeah.
It's early. He might still show up.
It's true. It is relatively early. We've only been here for 12, 15 minutes. But yeah, so this week we talked a lot. But I want to put it out there just in case people are like, man, I thought this was a gaming channel. I thought we were going to be playing games and watching games. We do. Matter of fact, I was on another 4 hours after yesterday's show playing what was the name of it? The New Legend of Ariad, which is a D&D game hosted by a friend of mine that I do broadcast here, and I actually get to be a player in that game, which is very cool. It's very cool. There was some shenanigans that popped off last night because it's a tabletop role-playing game and shenanigans pop off in tabletop role-playing games. Hey, Torsten, what's up? Hey, look at that person. I prefer the talk. It's what I know you for, honestly, even if I lurk. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you very much. I like that kind of stuff. So, I am going to start off with asking questions to you, Miss Heather. You are a tabletop role-playing gamer, a card gamer, you play video games, you're part of a Star Wars league that does all the lightsaber battles and stuff like that. Like, where did you get started at all that stuff? Because I know you and I are from very similar backgrounds, in the sense of growing up sort of around black people. You in the 90s, me in the 80s. But yeah, how did you find out about all of this stuff and join these groups?
Well, I'm glad to tell you about that. It all started on a little old apartment complex on Magnolia and Anaheim, where my brother's dad, at the time before he was born, brought over a console. It was a Super Nintendo. It was a Super Nintendo console, and the first game I ever played was Duck Hunter. And I remember when it was over, my brother's dad said, "Oh, okay, I got to take the console back." Oh man, I screamed and hollered and cried and all
Nintendo, the real gateway drug.
Yeah, so from then on I was hooked. I was just like, looking for any chance I could to go ahead and play games, whether it meant going over to a boy's house, because back in those days no girls that I knew played games, and going to the laundromat, playing video games at the little arcade games that they had available in the back of the laundromat, and watching other people play. I've watched other people play more games than I've actually played, but when I did get to play some games like Mortal Kombat, or which was on the Sega Genesis at the time, I wasn't very good, and that always got me bad mouthed and said, I can't play games. I don't know how to play games. Stop playing games. You don't know how to do it. You just do it right, do it better. That kind of rhetoric. But, I didn't get a console of my own until about 2004 when I graduated from high school. Now, my first console was a PS2. And the first game I completed on that was Kingdom Hearts. And as much as I love Kingdom Hearts, I have to say it's kind of a loose storyline, to say that much. But
you say that, but being a little older, where you started on the Super NES and I started on the NES, by the time Kingdom Hearts had come out, along with say Final Fantasy VII, like the whole PlayStation 1 generation, the fact that games had a story was kind of unusual, because back in the old days when Nintendo was fighting with Cabbage Patch Kids, we know who won that war. We only knew Rescue the Princess. We didn't know much about the Mushroom Kingdom. And Zelda had a story, but we were more concerned with playing with our parents letting us play long enough to get the raft. So the level of storytelling as it's evolved over those times was a little different. It was a little different. So you came in at a good point. Though, yeah, the story is kind of rudimentary, but, it's also Disney, and they're not known for great stories.
Yeah. So, with that combined with my love of anime, I started watching anime as young as probably about 4 or 5, maybe 5 or 6. I watched Sailor Moon, Inspector Gadget, and then as I grew up, in I want to say early high school, I started watching more TV, and we got cable, and with cable came Cartoon Network. And on Cartoon Network in the 90s at the time, there was Toonami. And of course, there were other, venues to watch anime out of, like not VH1 or VH2. It's MTV. MTV was another one that showed titles like Eon Flux. And sometimes I would catch that late at night with my mom, and we'd watch anime, or we'd watch...
and Ren and Stimpy. Don't forget Ren and Stimpy. Oh yeah.
Ren and Stimpy ain't no really for reals. No.
Yeah, it was on MTV.
Yeah, they were on MTV, but I'm talking about like anime. They weren't in anime, were they?
No, but neither was Eon Flux. Eon Flux was like French
Eon
animation.
Flux?
Yeah, that was like French
Oh.
animation because I think it came from Mobius. But feel free to correct me in the comments if you think I'm pulling this out of my very tiny worked off butt.
Well, you know, I don't just consider anime from like Japan. Like it had that style, that kind of interesting off the kilter style where it's like you could have been lumped in with anime. But
Fair.
yeah. Other things I did, like playing tabletop games, didn't come until later in my life. I think my first D&D game was with a friend named Josh Booth, and I got to role play with him for a little while, and then he introduced me into a gaming group where, you know, I would role play with them on a weekly basis, and we basically were gaming through with World of Darkness, not World of Warcraft. Oh my gosh, that's another story. But yeah, so we play once a week, and that was where I experienced one of my first kind of bad experiences as a gamer, because in one of the first games I played, my clothes were not dedicated to me. I was a werewolf, and because my clothes weren't dedicated to me, when I changed back, I was naked, and of course I was playing a female character. So you know, I decided after that, it took me a while, but I decided after that moment I wasn't going to play female characters in tabletops. I did it at a LARP, but I wasn't going to do it at like tabletops because I didn't want to run into that again. Eventually I stopped doing it in LARPs too. I mostly play male characters now because I just don't want to run into that uncomfortable situation where it's like, you know, oh, I'm naked and everyone can see what I look like, or put their imagination to it, and it's like,
Right.
Nobody needs to be thinking about that while we're playing a game. So, you know, to kind of throw people off, I'll always play like male characters or like really overly sexualized gay characters. I haven't done that in like ages though, but and I hate doing that because I should be able to game as I feel like I should. Like I'm in a woman's body, even though I'm non-binary. I should be able to role play with the body I'm using, you know, and not have it be objectified. So I just took that little bit of a note and just kind of went going on with you know, what I was doing with games. I joined LARPs. I joined the first saber group I was in, which was Orange County Saber Fighting, and that's where I got my roots in saber fighting, dueling, and sparring, and that actually stemmed from me not wanting to be taken advantage of anymore. You know, women get assaulted a lot and were harassed a lot. I've been followed home just taking the bus to and from work. People would try to get me to do something, or try to get me to come over, try to follow me home, and that's scary, you know. And I've had people, when I go to conventions, if I don't forget to take off my name badge, they'll try and, you know, hit me up or do something weird. So, you know, I stopped wearing my name tag badge out of the side of the conventions too, because I don't want anybody trying to harass me like that while I'm just trying to have some fun. So
I get you on that. I mean,
yeah,
you know, being a woman in the geek space is something that is really, really difficult to navigate quite often, because like real talk and a lot of those things, these spaces being primarily male driven, right? Male
Right.
commanded and male populated. Even with, I find that gaming men come in 3 different flavors, okay? And the most common flavor is dudes with good hearts that don't know that their behavior is actually not cool, you know? I was in that category for a long time. But on a lighter note, we actually have a question coming to us from YouTube. So I wanted to answer that question really quickly before we moved on to a good amount of your story. But we were asked if we knew what an accidentally is, and the answer is yes. Yeah, look at that. Look, it's a cute animal. That's right. That's coming from Kayla Waterman. Yeah, and have we ever played the horror game Poppy Playtime? Have you ever played that game?
No, I have not.
Yeah, neither have
I haven't even heard of it.
We may have to take a look at that real quick. Oh, we got Daryl and what is that? No One Nobody. Saying never played D&D but played D&D video games Baldur's Gate and like still like the RPG, which is cool. Yeah, that is very cool. This is sad. I think I broke my coffee maker.
Oh no, that's not good considering
it is not
your
good.
current situation.
Right? I'm like, it's not good for me. But I might have just clogged the darn thing. So I'm giving it some time to get in there, because yeah, I guess I gotta clear it out and let it do its thing. So yeah, I mean that's definitely like you've definitely chewed some dirt when it comes to gaming. Let me ask you. Let me ask you. With this stuff goes on, what keeps you gaming? Like what keeps you in the environment? You know, what keeps you coming back to people like us?
Well, a lot of different things actually. I would say the biggest thing that keeps me coming back is the fact that no matter what, I have fun. And that to me is what gaming should be about. It should be about having fun. In other instances, it's also about, being around friends and in a social group where supported somewhat, because I'm going to say, you don't always get that support, but when you do and you can, it's big, it's helpful, even if it's from one person. Another reason why I'm continuing the game, because it keeps my imagination from getting stale. And it's something to do. It's not like, I'm causing harm to anyone or doing anything harmful to myself.
Yeah, that's real talk. So, we got a question looking like from Daryl and on YouTube. So, what tribe you play? I think he's trying to lay down a little bit of game right now. Like, hey girl, what's your tribe?
My tribe.
Yeah, in werewolf. What tribe? Like
in werewolf. Oh.
Yeah, I know. I was I very much was a Wendigo. Because of course I was. But yeah, what was yours? I'm gonna guess White Fang or White Fury.
You mean the Black Furies?
Oh no.
I did play a Black Fury once, and that was the time where that incident happened, where I was like, naked and my clothes weren't dedicated. After that, I stopped wanting to play a Black Fury.
Okay.
So I think my tribe, I would have to say, if you were going to say that about me, I would be probably Fianna.
Okay.
Because I can sing, great at storytelling. What else? And I'm decent looking, I think,
Ah, man, if we're making a love connection on this channel, our ratings are going to go through the roof. No. Yeah, so that's very cool. So, I mean, I know I met you at the 15-year LARP that I was part of. And I'm like, oh, hello, fellow black person. Because in a lot of these spaces, at least in Southern California, there is a big feeling like being a chip in a great big cookie. But we never really talked about that kind of thing, Here we go. There's something happening. Yeah, we never really talked on that level of, so you're black, I'm black, we're gamers. How's stuff been like for you? Because there is a little bit of an understanding. And this is to the Deckers out there, okay? When people who've chewed a lot of the same dirt meet each other, there is an understanding. There very much is an understanding. Like, yep, we have a common place to come together. It's a lot easier for folks with augmented pigmentation because we can make that out from like 40, 50, 60 yards. But it's not that other folks are excluded. It's just that connection is a little more instant in the sense of in the sense of, hey, another person like me in this gaming space on a deeper level than just gamer. So that being said, that being said, in a lot of the other spaces that you go into, do you find that that is the case, like in the Saber community or in video games and stuff like that?
Well, what? That I made the token or something like that?
No. Not that you made the token. No. I kind of take that as a given.
No.
No. That when you see other black people, for example, in these spaces, is there like an instant connection, or is it one of those things where it's like, okay, they're there? Like, are they kind of a pinned point in your mind as a potential anchor?
This is going to get interesting. So, while I was in the middle of my story, I was going to get up to this, but once I started going to conventions and seeing, other people, and people of color primarily, we started making this inside joke where it's like, oh, the Black Con's happening now, right? Just you see one black person, you go and talk to them like, hey, I'm black, you're black, let's be cool, blah, blah. And then next thing you know, another black person comes, oh wow, another black person. And then the next thing you know, you got a whole bunch of black people congregating in one space, and everyone's like laughing and having a good time, talking, sharing experiences and everything. And we dubbed that Black Con. We did that at Anime LA one year, like I want to say it was like almost 10 years ago, and that was a lot of fun. And then there was a convention down in San Diego. Well, everybody knows this convention, Comic-Con, everyone.
It's just a little thing down in San Diego.
It's just a little social.
Yeah, just a little thing. Don't worry about it. You wouldn't understand. It's just a couple of comic geeks get together and they talk about a thing or two, just that we might get ice cream or something. That might be it. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was my experience at conventions. Not all of it, though, of course. Usually it happened like one day, and then everybody would be, go on their own separate ways. But there was an actual on the panel of called Black Con, or like, a panelist for black folks are in the industry, and I went to it, and it was like I saw some stars. I saw like I got to talk to a few people who were of color, of course, and trying to understand like what is it that we need to do in order to put more of our people out there. How can we get more representation? What are we doing? How are we going to do it? And I really wanted in on that, but I wasn't skilled as I am today.
Okay, all right, so let's talk intersectionality, because that's something that doesn't really come up a whole lot, in the current world that we live in, and y'all know I'm right. We tend to look at a singular thing, and that caused a lot of dividing lines, sometimes at the gaming table. And one of the things that I try and use at the gaming table is a lot of intersectionality within characters on the gaming table. It's the idea of the half elf. It's like, one of the things that I've always loved about role-playing games, particularly, is that you could there are game mechanics for anyone to play anything. So, but there's also a secondary thing of, and I love this in Goblin Slayer Abridged, right? Where everyone just refers to each other as their character class or their job. Like, my name is, I don't need to know your job. You're a healer. That's all I need to know. And that's the elf. Shoot that guy. That kind of thing. And he's Goblin Slayer. But when it comes to the gaming spaces and stuff, and this is something I had to learn because I definitely grew up within the gaming spaces I was allowed. There was a lot of toxicity, specifically a lot of sexism. What I call soft sexism. It wasn't pukey girls, no girls allowed, get out of our treehouse, but a lot of rude jokes, a lot of sayings and things, rude jokes, nicknames, things like that did not take the other people at the table into consideration, you know? And with the intersectionality thing, like, people know if I'm at the table, you know, you don't make black jokes, you know, because the big black guy is here and, you know, he might flip the table or something. But, you know, when it comes to, you know, being around me, like, queer jokes, not cool. Because so many people that are close to me in my life that have actually shown up and not been in my circle, but been in my corner, have been from the LGBTQ plus community. Ever since I was like 10 years old, you know, starting with my cousin Spud, who is as unusual as a dodo bird driving Optimus Prime. Okay, very queer. Very queer. Yeah, you're like, that look on her face is just like, what? What? Yeah. Yeah, what's your question?
I have a cousin named Bacon. That's not his real name, but no, everybody thought it was odd that you called him Bacon, but he was not a ball. He really was. But yeah, I when you said that, I was just like, what? As odd as a dodo driving Optimus Prime? I've never heard that term.
That's because I just made it up. I was trying to think of something that was queer. An extinct bird driving a cartoon truck. Yeah, that's as queer, meaning unusual, as he is. He was like the first. He was actually the first flamboyant gay person I ever knew, and I just knew that as cousin Spud. You know, that was just Spud. That was just the thing. But with the undertone of, if you're making a joke about it, it's not a good thing. You know what I mean? It's, if you make a joke about it, it must be something negative because the punchline is punching down. And I'm just kind of sitting up going, what's wrong with being gay? You know, there's nothing wrong with my cousin, you know? And that's kind of where I carried that my whole life. But there's a lot of ways that a lot of folks that have what I call the bias of normalcy going on in their heads, where they sometimes have to realize that there is more to a person than just the singular thing. Like, a gamer isn't just a gamer, they might be a chemist, or a chemist might like heavy metal, or a metalhead might like My Little Pony. Like, there's so many intersectionalities. But there's also the understanding that every person is more than a singular label, you know, be it white guy in a trailer park. That means he's poor, you know, poor and trailer park, you know, it's not really a thing. Or poor and white, or poor, white, and queer, or gender fluid and neurodivergent. You know, there's so many different things that go across. And what I want to ask, in your experience, is how do you handle navigating other people's intersectionalities? Because it's not my business to state what your intersectionalities are. That's on you. But being an intersectional gamer, i.e. intelligent, nerd, black woman, that's four. Or non-binary, sorry, I'm still working on that. That's 4 different levels of intersectionality. So my question to you is, how do you navigate the intersectionality of other people so that the viewers might actually get a little bit of an idea on how to handle it themselves? Because it's, yeah, there are different ways to do it, but those who are intersectional tend to have a better understanding of the proper way, or people who are part of a group have a better way of understanding how to navigate that group than people that aren't. So what would some of your tips and tricks be?
Well, I've had to wear a lot of different hats in the community and outside of it as well. So what I think would help build on that is to find common areas of interest. When, you know, everybody's different, no one is gonna be exactly the same as you, but you can find common ground and find something to agree on. You can compromise, you can do all sorts of different tips and tricks and things like, there's also a reverse psychology, but I don't recommend that. But
no, there isn't.
Okay. I got your number. Anywho, yeah, I definitely recommend finding common ground when it comes to intersectionalities when you come across that, because I have many friends, whether they're in gaming or not, who like you said, they're intersectional encounters with them. And there's times when I have been able to have a common ground on a lot of different interest with people. And then there's some times where it's just like, oh, I'm religious and this and that and the other, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be wary around you because I don't know if you're gonna be like, bad demonistic person or something, because that's been my experience in religion. So I just take that with a pound of sand and a grain of salt and a pound of sand. And just finding those common areas of interest and where you can talk about things that you guys can agree on.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm definitely there. What I like to remind people is that my difference is not the sum of my existence. It's hey, Solar's a black nerd. Yes, but I'm a lot more things than that. When I deal with a lot of my friends in the LGBTQ community, or when I talk to vets who have disabilities, I'm like, I'm not saying this because I watched a bunch of reactions to this movie last night, but I'm still very much, you're still Lieutenant Dan. It's like a person in my eyes has always been the sum of their experiences, their lessons, their beliefs, their the differences and all that other stuff. So that is really one of the things that when I try to interact with people and their intersectionality comes up, if it's one that I don't share, I do my best to listen. I definitely do my best to listen. Hey, Neon Arlecchino is there. Thank you for dropping the Discord link, man. You're coming in clutch. You were coming in clutch. Thank you so much. So yeah, there is a lot of that. And I guess I know the advice that I would have for people, or since the worst advice is advice, the thing I suggest to people the most is to never forget, regardless of any other subcategory of any of that, but the people that you deal with at the gaming table, in the gaming stores, in the mall, they are, one, they're human. But did you I'm pretty sure you know this, Heather, but the title of person, anthropological, has actually has qualifiers. Like, did you?
Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. It's that's the thing. That's one of the things that makes America special, is that according to the American ideal and the ideal of most of Western civilization, if you are born Homo sapiens sapien, you qualify as person. Okay. For a lot of civilizations, personhood had qualifications: land, bloodline, things like that. Okay. It's one of the things I'm always arguing with people about when it comes to the Constitution. I'm like, it says we the people, but people meant something different back then. And if we are going to, I guess you can say, as a society, if we're going to give everyone the qualification of personhood, then we have to go all the way. There's no half measures, it's like, one of the things I see is that people are constantly fighting for their personhood. If a person is LGBTQ, they're a person first. If it's a person of color, they're a person first. If they come from a different economic base from you, they are a person first. And this is what well-meaning people think or mean when they say, we'll treat everybody the same, all that other stuff. Excuse me. But there's a lot of behavior and treatment in our society that's based on people removing the personhood of other humans. And that's where the fight comes in, I think. So, this is, again, one of the reasons that we fight so hard here. Like, Heather is a person. That's it, person. It doesn't matter what gender identification or what sex at birth or who she sleeps with, what god she worships, if any. Person first. Heather is still Heather. And so I guess in dealing with other people's intersectionality, I would definitely recommend to deal with the person first instead of the thing that makes them intersexual or intersectional as the core definer of their personality or the core characteristic of their particular personhood or condition of their personhood. Yeah. Am I making sense?
Yeah, you're totally making sense. And I agree with that, because without that, then there's no basis for the actual relationship, friendship, or whatever to come through for. You have to approach whoever you're talking to, whether it's your mother, your father, your son, your daughter, or a friend, you approach them as a person first. And I've always thought, as I came into my own, that, I am a person. I'm someone who wants to meet another person, who wants to be with another person.
Yeah, so that is definitely the thing. Let's see, we got a question from Black and White Now in Color asking if they can see the robot because they missed that. We're not done with the robot. We're taking up the robot. We're going to be doing more with the robot next week because I decided that since we're doing the robot and you guys are helping me pick the colors, we're going to do it with you. All right, so let me see if I can get a good shot of the robot, where the robot stands. Because, yeah, there we go. So I'm going to cut to the robot real quick. There we go. Here's the robot as it stands. I added a serious clear coat to the thing so I could get the shine that I want before putting the colors on. I know it has sort of a Terminator got together with Terminator got together with Jeff Bridges, the robot's stance on issues is not a good soldier. Matters not. A good soldier does what's ordered. True. But you know what? Tony Stark made this in a cave with scraps. That's what I got to say on that. So yeah, there we go. On that, you want to see the robot? There it is. Yeah, so that is definitely one of those big things. Now, what are the games that you're most looking forward to playing right now? Because yeah, we talk a lot about games, and I know you're more into video games than I am. You're more into video games than I am because you had funding at a time in my life that I didn't, so you didn't get swallowed up by the gap of if you don't have hundreds of dollars, you can't play these games. I talk, of course, about the console wars. Way back in the days when Sega dropped away and PlayStation hit the scenes, that kind of thing. So what games are you looking forward to playing currently?
Well, the games that I'm looking forward to playing are actually more tabletop based. There's a board game that I bought a few years ago called King's Armory. I cannot wait until my parents and I just moved into this apartment in Anaheim, and we're still kind of unpacking things and everything. But once we get a table, which is something my grandma's been trying to do and was really adamant about, I want to play King's Armory again, and it's a great game. I think you can have up to 8 or 9 players, but the great part about this game is you can play it by yourself. So I want to do a solo session for that because I haven't tried it yet, and I think it would be good for me to learn the game a little bit better by playing it by myself. And then another one I'm interested in playing with you is Grim Dark Souls. And I'm definitely itching to just get my hands on an army and do some more with the miniatures and things like that.
Oh, we will get to all that. Yeah, Grimdark Future is awesome. It's Grimdark Future, not Grimdark Souls. Unfortunately, the minis can't do the jump and roll out of the way.
My bad.
At least not all of them.
I knew it was something like that.
No, you're getting there. You're getting there. Or as I like to call it, dollar store 40K. Which is cool, because ain't nothing wrong with the dollar store version. We got a question here from Daryl on YouTube asking, Heather, have you played Chronicles of Darkness? So, have you played the Chronicles of Darkness? Oh, you haven't played the Chronicles?
I haven't.
Okay, I believe that's a White Wolf 2.0, actually. Yeah, you actually haven't played on Chronicles? You weren't part of that LARP?
No, I was not. I came in with the gaming group I was with John and everybody, like in 2000, I want to say 17, maybe 16. No, it was 17. It was 2017. So the only LARPs I've been was with the Changeling LARP, which was, in my opinion, kind of a dud. And the other one is Fading Suns.
Okay. All right. Oh, keep going. I'm like, oh, Fading Suns. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, Fading Suns was I didn't stick around for that one too much. I think I'm more about those LARPs that are like, with the boffers and the wiffles, swords and things like that. I like those LARPs better than I like, the intrigue LARPs that we have. I don't really like those LARPs that much. It's too political for me.
In all fairness, that particular LARP that I would have met you at, the average, like the median age of every player is about 51. So buffer weapons, it's like, aha, I have it. Oh my God, my back. Oh, my back. So that's
okay.
So yeah, that is definitely thing. Neon Arlecchino asked, I heard about a game designed around a single player called Chrome Hammer. Do either of you have experience with that one? Have you heard of Chrome Hammer?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, I haven't heard about it, but to answer your questions, like I know what I'm talking about here. I looked it up and I found a skirmish cyberpunk game called Chrome Hammer over on, I believe it's wargamervault.com for $5 for the PDF. So if that's the game you're talking about, Neon Arlecchino, when I have the $5, I will download it and take a look. Who knows? Maybe I'll learn something. Oh, he's like, yeah, that's the one. That's the one. You and your cyberpunk dystopias. I'm like, why do y'all like playing in my childhood? Man. So that's very cool. Kind of coming up on time, but we still got time for a couple of other questions if you guys have them in there. Major shouts out to Clever Little Vixen, holding it down like gravity. We got Alien Gathering, Black and White Now in Color, Call of Fortnite. You're shocking me. You tend to have questions like every single episode, and I haven't gotten a question from you yet. Let's see. Commander Root, Drop Snatch, Isnabel's Lurks, Neon Arlecchino, Shauna, Taco Tuesday 7313, what's going on? And Vision Vendor, what's up? Oh yeah, there you go. Let's see, have you played a game you've enjoyed so much you lost track of time? Real talk, if I don't lose track of time, I don't think I'm playing right. What about you, Heather?
Yeah, you know what, I have to agree with that. Anything that engages you and you lose yourself in is definitely like 2 thumbs up.
Yeah, seriously, like every time I sit down to a game that I look forward to playing, if I don't hear the I'm not in, I'm not in. I play every games with my palms being sweaty, my knees are weak, arms are heavy. Sometimes there's even vomit on my sweater. Sadly, it's not mom's spaghetti. But yeah, no, if I can't lose myself in the game, the moment, then I really don't think, I think I'm either not playing the game correctly, or I think, I have to put it down. But there are so many games out there, okay? And this isn't the guy online saying, well, there are so many games out there that did. No. I'm saying there's so many games out there. And so, I've never seen, no, one time I've seen a game that had no redeeming qualities. And this was a game that I came across in 2003 that was anti-cigarette propaganda. And I'm not saying that it had no redeeming qualities because it was anti-smoking. I want to put that out there right now. It just had terrible gameplay. Like every single time you rolled the dice, something else bad happened to you. And the moral of the game was, see what happens when you start smoking? I'm like, where's Pee Wee Herman holding up a glass vial saying, this is crack, you know? Seriously, it was that bad. I mean, it was from the just say no era. And
of course.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it was terrible. So yeah, I'm seeing the conversation in the chat. So Neon Arlecchino, this is for you. I'm putting the link to the Gamer Vault in the chat. So if you want to pick up that PDF for $5, you totally can. It's right there. Just follow the link. Let's see. The worst board game I ever played was based on Dexter. Everything was random and you had no way of knowing if another player has your objectives or had theirs except through RPG. You know, on paper, that sounds pretty awesome. That actually sounds pretty awesome on paper. But I love randomness. I really do. I love, since I've been around so many control freaks over the course of my life, when it comes to my hobbies and my fun, I love watching people that try and calculate everything to the nth degree. Like they're taking protractors and chalk lines to the pool hall to make sure they can hit the ball in the exact same spot. I love the idea of man plans and God laughs. So when it comes to somebody not understanding what the other player has, I'm like, aha, now it's time to get good, noob. What about you?
I was just gonna say, right when you were saying all of that, you know, it reminded me of Leroy Jenkins. That whole thing. Well, you know, remember Leroy, the part where the guy
old meme.
Remember the part where the guy was like, okay, so we're gonna have to calculate this out. It's gonna be like 3.66 repeating. I'm like, really? Who calculates that to like the decimal? Who does that? I want to meet that person so they can teach me how to math.
In truth, there's a lot of people that you know that do that. That is the help me out, guys, the meta calculations. This is one of the reasons that I stopped playing games in tournaments, because I've seen tournament players go, I mean, you can almost see them chasing chickens around their cards or their miniatures in training, and there's montages where they're like doing calculations, and like I imagine like with Warhammer stuff, they buy all the codexes, they read all the codexes so that they know the combination of every single army that they could go against, and have what some of our old friends used to call answers for every situation that could pop up on the table. And I'm like, okay, cool. Well, guess what? I watch classic Doctor Who, so I'm going to intentionally make a random move, and you're not going to be able to calculate for that. Yeah, look at your plans now. You know, if I say I'm going to kill one tiny little mare, then everyone loses their minds. You know, I mean, you know. And seriously, I have been at game tables where I did something, and those tournament players who are looking for the meta, the most efficient track to achievement, they look at me and they're like, why'd you do that? I'm like, because I don't like how you're judging my play. and I don't care about winning, you know? And they're like, I don't know what to do about this. He could move anywhere. I know he's trying to get this objective to win, but I don't, this is not fun, you know? And I'm just like, well, it is for me. That's how I troll, you know?
Oh my God, yes, yes, you are the Leroy Jenkins of all of that.
You know what? I will put that next to my my nerd medal of honor. I'm dead serious. I really am that guy saying, you know, yes, we have this planet. If we come in at this angle, I got an idea. Yeah. You know? There was really a question of there was an episode of classic Doctor Who too that really stick out in my heart. One was the Doctor and Romana, this was the fourth Doctor played by Tom Baker, are trying to stop a war between two cybernetic races. And he taught them how to play rock, paper, scissors, but he introduced the organic element, the random element of not doing what was perfectly calculated. And he kept beating them. And he's like, you know, that's it. Make a mistake and confuse the enemy. And of course, the show ends with her saying, oh, so is that why you win all the time? And I'm like, okay. And the second one, the second thing that stuck out in Doctor Who was another Cybermen episode. And he was with another Tom Baker episode. And he was with Leela, who was a barbarian woman from a primitive world. And they were trying to solve the issue because the Cybermen were essentially causing a zombie apocalypse on a space station. So the Doctor's trying to solve that. And Leela runs to him after they get separated, because if y'all watch Doctor Who, you know half of the episode is the Doctor is somewhere, the companion is another, and they have to meet up again in the middle. And they meet up in the middle, and she's like, Doctor, I found a solution, because he was just beating his head against the problem. And he was like, really? What did you figure out? She's like, well, you can stab him in the neck. And he's like, okay, let's try using our minds, you know? So that's where I come from. So it's like, aha, look at all these calculations. And you know, if we go in, we can do this just efficiently. And I'm like, C's get degrees. Let's go stab something. You know, that's kind of the thing. Let's see. We got a question from Daryl to you, Heather. What favorite genre of video games do you have? What genre I guess, what is your favorite genre of video game?
Okay, I was gonna say video games that I own, because I don't own any. My favorite genre is fighting games. I really love fighting games. That's where I got a lot of my gaming experience was from fighting games.
Okay. So fighting games, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. See, I figured you'd be more of a Dark Souls and Bloodborne type player.
No, I'm what's known in the community as a button masher.
Eddie Gordo wins.
Right?
Yeah.
Finish him.
You know, I think like my favorite genre is absolutely fighting games. I spent a college tuition in quarters on Street Fighter 2 back in the day. But I think my second, believe it or not, are rhythm games. Like
rhythm games, like Dance Dance Revolution?
More like Guitar Hero, Rock Band, stuff like that. You know.
Yeah, I definitely dig Guitar Hero, Rock Hero. Oh my gosh, it's a combination of the two into a new game. Yeah, I definitely loved Guitar Hero. Guitar Hero was one of my favorites when it was out. And it helped me with, you know, making music as far as like knowing where to place my fingers and things like that. So it was practical in some senses.
We're still trying to keep this show PG, okay? Anyway, yeah, honestly, when a friend of mine got Rock Band, I'm like, well, you know what? I'm a bass player. I will do. Oh, screw this. But then I sat down at that drum kit. And when I sat down at that drum kit, I'm like, yeah, I get to beat something to Iron Maiden, you know. So yeah, that was one of my favorite ones. Yeah, I got Clever Little Vixen going, "Button Mashers Unite!" You know, so I think somebody, yeah, I think so.
Yes.
You know, and so yeah, but that's our time today. Believe it or not, like yeah, our time is up. I'm so glad we had this time together to nerd out about a thing or two. One
What,
last
Guitar
question.
Hero will be returning?
Really?
Sorry. Yeah, that's
Wow.
what it said in the chat.
This is like an end. Yeah, that's like the end to a freaking Avengers movie. Guitar Hero will return. You know. Yeah, so that's the thing. Yeah, I tried doing DDR, but I don't like dancing around white people because I don't want to hold up stereotypes. Yeah. Wow. You got blisters from Guitar Hero. That's yeah, it's just a you just push a button. Just there you go.
He was really mashing them buttons then.
Yeah, that's yeah. So yeah, one last question we have from Black and White Now in Color. When is the next Fluff Talk? Dude, you are reaching way back. Way back. Way. Oh wow. Okay, so here's the thing. I loved doing Fluff Talk. I really did. That was one of my favorite shows to do. But it got really expensive. Heather, this was before you and I met. Back in the early days of the channel, I had a show called Fluff Talk, where we featured just the lore of various games. Like seriously, just the lore. No mechanics, just lore. So if we were talking 40K, we would do like the lore of the Imperium or the lore of the Horus Heresy. If we were doing White Wolf, we would do the lore on each of the different White Wolf games and the different realms of Dungeons and Dragons throughout the decades. So like one show would be 100% Ravenloft, another show would be 100% Planescape. You know, the thing is, in order to do that show in a safe to IP type way, I would at least have to buy copies of each of the books that I was doing the lore on. And my gaming library is quite extensive, and I started doing that show with Mr. Viking, who had you know Mr. Viking, good old Coral.
Yes, I do.
And so you know his gaming library is even more extensive than mine. So we could, we didn't have to buy all that stuff. So that was really cool. But now with Kickstarter and all of the games on DriveThruRPG and everybody and their mother coming out with either a minis game or a tabletop board game or a role-playing game of themselves, there is a lot. There's a lot of different role-playing games to do for Fluff Talk, but we don't have enough patrons for me to buy a minimum of 8 new games a month. Okay, that would literally be almost $1,000 a month to buy the games, read the games, talk to the owners of the games and all that, the owners of the IPs and stuff like that. So I guess the answer,
Yeah, I was just gonna say, what about Humble Bundle?
Huh?
Humble Bundle?
Humble Bundle is good, but it's a lot like buying magic cards and saying, we're going to do the lore on each card in this pack. So we'll start doing Fluff Talk when I either figure out a way to do the show less expensively, or when people head over to patreon.com/BID_P and start sending their family members there so that we make enough money so that I can pay my guests, pay my co-hosts, buy these books, get the licensing fees, all that stuff. So yeah, again, I love the show and I love looking and I'm all about the lore. Game mechanics come secondary to me. I'm all about that fluff. Give me that fluff. Give me more fluff. Jars and jars of marshmallow. Just jars and jars of fluff all over the place. That's me.
Flavor text.
Yeah.
I know a guy who was called that.
You knew a guy that was called Flavor Text?
Yeah, it was kind of a backhanded nickname, but in term of endearment for someone in my old gaming group. and they hated it. They hated it.
Yeah, I definitely get that. Oh yeah, no, Neon, I totally understand that Lexicanum is a great place to get the 40k lore for free, but you're also talking about content bullies, okay? I mean, I've got 15 books from the Horus Heresy that I'm afraid to talk about in public because they're like, beep, somebody's talking about RIP, get the lawyers, you know? Oh wait, they're British. So I say, someone is speaking of our law. Well, we should call the barrister. Yes. Let's call the barrister. You know that's. You know, so yeah, that's one of the big things. I know. I think it was the 5th episode of Fluff Talk that you can find on our SoundCloud. Just look up SoundCloud BID_P. We talked about. We started doing the World of Darkness. And one of the writers is like, you're talking about our stuff and didn't call up the creators? Bad. And I'm not sure if that was him saying, you know, I would have been happy to be on the show and talk about it, and you guys should have reached out because I might have said yes, or do it again and you're going to get sued. And, you know, my lawyer already has his hands full with estate stuff. So, yeah, it's a thing. It really is a thing. So, but if I were to do another fluff talk, what would you like? What's your favorite fluff, Heather?
My favorite fluff? I would like to know more about MTG, Magic the Gathering.
Oh, man. So, you know, just a light bit of lore.
That was the, oh shit, I have my work cut out for me.
You know, I mean, I thought I had a lot waiting when I decided to sit down and read all the Discworld books. I'm like, dude, there's 44 books in this series. And then I looked at Magic the Gathering and I'm like, oh my God. You know, they've been releasing like 3 novels a year for the past 30 years.
That's a lot of reading.
Yes, it is. So, Call of Fortnite is asking, what games are you into role-playing games? What games got you into role-playing games, Heather? I know you answered this at the beginning of the show, but, you know, they just got here, so let's humor them as we close out.
No worries. I'll go through it real quickly. First game was Duck Hunter, and when I was about 2 or 3. Second game was probably Mario Brothers. Then probably about in high school, I got a PS2 and played Kingdom Hearts along with the various other titles that I can't remember, like, Bloody Roar. The other one was something like Need for Speed, but it wasn't Need for Speed. It was called something else. It was called something with ATVs. And then briefly had some cosplay experience, and then I also got into gaming because I heard my dad played games, so I wanted to know my dad more, which is really interesting that I never played any games with him or really spoke with him about it, because then I would have gotten to know my dad more. But that was the primary reason for me getting into role-playing games, was because I wanted to have the experiences that my dad had, and get closer to him in that sense if I couldn't get closer to him talking to him.
Yeah, I definitely get that. See, now I didn't grow up with a father. My father figure was Kratos from God of War 4. You know, as we called him, Black Dad. So yeah, I definitely can imagine what it's like going, you know what, Pop? Because, you know, black people, we don't say dad, we say pop, you know, it's the thing. Yeah, hey, Pops, you know.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Because that's not, I never knew what to call my dad.
That's what I learned from BET, okay?
Okay. If BET says so, then we're just going to leave it at that.
Yeah, BET and Sanford and Son taught me how to refer to my pops, all right? That's just it. But yeah, no, I can only imagine what it's like going, wait a minute, Pops. You a nerd like me. Why you being all stoic? And I can see them going, you know, and that'd be like, we don't talk about that, boy. You know, that's all I can really see. You know, kind of like that uncle who gives you money and you go, wow, uncle, where'd you get that? Oh, we don't talk about that. You know, that kind of thing. So anyway, guys, thank you guys for being here today. Major shout outs to Clever Little Vixen holding it down like gravity. One, Ella, Alisadra, Alien the Gathering, Black and White Now in Color, Call of Fortnite, Card Thulu, Commander Root, Drops Nats is Nickable, Lisa Bay. You know you my bae, Lisa Bay. Lisa Bay. Yeah, that's right, because you're the only person here with Bay in the name of their thing. Kata, Lurks, Neon Arlecchino, Shanuala, and Taco Tuesday 7313. Major shout outs to you guys over here in the chat. Yeah, I was really, I'm really happy that you guys are still here dealing with us. Thank you. Join the Discord server that Neon Arlecchino has put up in the chat. That is really good. Heather, thank you for coming down and just having the casual game. I know we were like, let's go do this. Well, let's do this. Well, no, that's a subject that we can't just improvise. So we need to do some research on that. So you know what? Let's just talk. let's just talk. So thanks for coming down and just hanging. You know, I really appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure to be on the show, as usual. And definitely glad to be back, of course. And I hope to see you guys again soon.
Oh, you will, at least until we get day jobs and stuff. Which reminds me, this is a show announcement. I got booked for a gig, probably starting next week, between now and April 8th. I will be appearing as the Easter Bunny at the South Bay Galleria. I don't know my hours, and if you show up there going, oh my God, is that Solar? I won't be able to talk to you because the Easter Bunny don't talk. Hopefully I will find someone to come down in a cosplay as Jesus Christ so that they can help me hide Easter eggs in my off time. But that also means that the show will be changing hours because I'll have to either do the show before I go to work or after I get back from work. So we'll see how that going. Oh, stop, Neon. Stop. You see your cave? That was your warning. Okay, that was your warning. Okay, there you go. There's your bridge, and it's raining, so there's your bridge. That's your warning. But yeah,
you know,
so
I was just gonna ask too. Can you put in the word with the Easter Bunny and tell them to lower the price on eggs, please? Because no one can afford a basket of goods at that market price anymore.
Bruh, the Easter Bunny. Why do you think the Easter Bunny has to do mall appearances this year? All right, everybody's hurting.
Because he needs his eggs too.
Exactly. He's like, man, even the chickens are on strike. Boy, I gotta go do some appearances so I can make these kids happy one way or another. Damn. You know, so seriously. And that's right, Terrence Howard is the Easter Bunny. Man. So yeah, that's the thing. So that's the announcement. I will keep you guys posted. Keep up on Deckers on the Book and keep up on the Discord so you guys know all of that stuff. Oh wait, what's Deckers on the Book and all that stuff? Well, it's one of the ways to get a hold of me, just like backinthedeck@gmail.com. That's BACKINTHEDECK@gmail.com. You can also hit me up on Twitter @BackInTheDeck, Instagram @BackInTheDeck, TikTok @BidP, Facebook on Deckers on the Book if you're part of that wretched hive of scum and villainy. With all of that, guys, I want to say thank you. Thank you for showing up today. Thank you. Have a very decent casual Friday. If you're here in the greater Los Angeles area, stay dry. Because LA is flooding right now, unless it's my computer messing with me saying, hey, bruh, flooding going down. Which is sad because I literally have to go to the mall and try on the bunny suit right after we end the show. So thank you guys for being here. And if anybody tells you that you can't like what you like because of the circumstances of your birth, be it race, religion, creed, gender identity, sexual orientation, disability, neurodivergency, or your budget, you can just tell them to take those cards and put them back in the deck because we got you over here. All right. With that, thank you, Heather, for showing up.
Absolutely.
All right. And I'm Solar Gray, the Cinematic Sorcerer, and we will see you next time on the dark side of the room.